understand it now. I get it. Y'all can't stand the mirror that's been put in front of your face. All of the shit that y'all have been serving for the last few decades now against minority communities, y'all can't stand having to look at it when it affects you. See, that's the thing. I finally get it. It took me a lot of time because I'm thinking, why are people reacting so violently to this? And it reminds me of the very first event that I had when I was escaping the alt-right pipeline and changing my mindset of that. Was that anger and violence? Because see, here's the thing. And here's the thing you really don't understand because you refuse to put yourself in other people's shoes and actually be empathetic to other people's situations. How do y'all think the black community has felt for the last 5 years since George Floyd has died? All the memes y'all shared about that. How do you think they felt about the memes about Breonna Taylor, you know, the woman who was gunned down in her sleep during a no-knock raid? How do you think the Latino community has felt for the last 8 months with y'all cheering Trump for his deportation efforts and buying merch for Alligator Alcatraz and egging it on that human suffering is a great thing for this country? How do you think the gay community felt with all the jokes y'all made about the Pulse nightclub shooting a few years back in Orlando that killed 50 plus people in a predominantly gay club? You are truly experiencing for the first time how it tastes. The hatred y'all have been spilling out of your guts for years finally comes back at you. And that's the thing you don't like. But you know what? The funny thing about all of it is, where's the black community calling for war with how you have treated them? Where's the Latino community going up in arms and calling for war? And no, fighting off ICE and protesting, that is not war. That is civil disobedience, and that is our First Amendment right. But calling for the bloodshed of innocent civilians because they make jokes about a dead man who spent his entire political career actively making these communities worse with his rhetoric and their situations worse? Where's their calls for war? See, you're just now kind of coming out of the illusion that your hatred and bigotry that you claim is free speech is free of consequences from the actions of what you just said. Because you only ever say it online. Because when you do say it to someone's face, you almost always outnumber them 5-1. You almost always catch people in situations where they're at a disadvantage, so when you say these things, you're protected. But now with Charlie, in his situation, you're having to come to reality for the first time of the vile and awful things that you believe in, and you don't like it. You're having to eat that. You're having to stare it in the face, and what's your first response? To be violent and angry towards innocent people. Because you scream that everyone's entitled to their opinion. You love dark humor, but the second you see people making jokes about Charlie Kirk being gone, oh, that's too far? Oh, that's too far. The Halloween costumes of George Floyd being strangled to death. Oh, let's not even glaze over the fact that I'm seeing a bunch of posts going, congratulations, George Floyd, for being 5 years sober, because he's dead. But now you want us to care. You're now noticing just how little actual emotion, like how little actual empathy and sympathy exist amongst your own ranks. Because the funniest thing about this entire situation is the fact that it was one of your own that killed him. It was a 22-year-old white kid from Utah who came from a conservative GOP family that loved Trump. And he was a registered Republican. So if you really, really, really think you want war or bloodshed with innocent people, how about you look in a mirror and why don't you sit there for a few days and actually digest and break down your beliefs? Because I'm sure it's screaming at you from the inside. I remember feeling that a lot whenever I was younger in the alt-right, was there's this interior voice that's screaming that the things you are saying and doing are wrong, but you don't care because it's getting you brownie points with the people around you because you've surrounded yourself with hateful people. How about you actually think for a few days on your politics and your beliefs? Because at the moment, y'all are disgusting. Y'all call us disgusting for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. We think you're disgusting because really Charlie Kirk is no different than any child that has been shot in a school for the last fucking 2 decades. The things we have been trying to prevent, the things we have been trying to stop, the pain that these incidents cause families, yeah, how about you think about which side you've been fighting on that for a while?